The Zephyrian High Council had conquered 17 star systems with their impossible technology. Their ships defied physics, bending space-time into pretzels and making causality weep. Their weapons fired backwards through time to kill enemies before battles even began. Their shields existed in 17 dimensions simultaneously, making them theoretically invulnerable to any attack that operated within the known universe. Commander. Veltar adjusted his crystalline crown as he observed the primitive blue-green world through the observation deck. Earth, the 18th conquest. These humans would be the easiest yet. A species that had barely scratched the surface of faster-than-light travel, still using crude chemical rockets and primitive fusion drives. Begin the demonstration, Veltar commanded. The Zephyrian dreadnought logical impossibility descended through Earth's atmosphere, its reality-warping engines making the laws of physics whimper in protest. Below, human military installations scrambled their forces. But what could conventional weapons do against ships that existed outside conventional reality? The demonstration was swift and terrifying. A mountain range in Nevada simply ceased to exist, not destroyed, not vaporized, but edited out of reality itself. The Pacific Ocean briefly turned purple and began flowing uphill before snapping back to normal. For exactly 17 seconds, gravity on the entire planet reversed direction. Within hours, every human government had received the same message, transmitted directly into their leaders' minds in perfect native languages. Surrender. Your science cannot comprehend our power. We are the Zephyrians, and we have made logic itself our servant. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the data streaming across her laboratory screens at CERN. As Earth's leading quantum physicist, she'd been called in to analyze the alien technology. What she saw made her laugh, actually laugh, despite the dire circumstances. They think they're so clever, she muttered, pulling up another readout. Breaking the laws of physics, please. They're just following different ones. Her colleague, Dr. James Rodriguez, looked up from his own terminal. Sarah, these readings are impossible. Their ships are generating negative mass, creating temporal loops existing in superposition states that should collapse the moment we observe them. Exactly. Sarah grinned. They've mastered advanced physics, but they're still thinking like physicists. They've learned to break the rules, but they're still playing the game. She began typing furiously, her fingers dancing across holographic keyboards. James, what's the one thing every civilization assumes about the universe? That it makes sense? Bingo. They've built their entire technological foundation on the assumption that the universe operates according to discoverable principles. Even when they break those principles, they're still operating within a framework of logic. Sarah's eyes gleamed. But what if we don't? The human response came 3 days later. Instead of surrender, Earth's governments collectively sent a single message to the Zephyrian fleet. Thanks for the science lesson. Our turn. Veltar was still laughing when the first human ship appeared. It was a cargo vessel, ancient by galactic standards, held together with what appeared to be metallic tape and sheer stubbornness. It shouldn't have been able to reach orbit, let alone approach their position. Its emission signature was completely impossible. The ship was simultaneously accelerating and decelerating, hot and cold, massive and massless. Scan it, Veltar ordered. The sensor officer's face went through several colors. Sir, according to our instruments, that ship doesn't exist. Obviously it exists. We can see it, yes sir, but our sensors insist it doesn't also. It's apparently made of materials that can't exist, powered by an energy source that violates conservation laws and... The officer paused. Sir, it's broadcasting elevator music. The human vessel opened a communication channel. The voice that emerged was cheerfully casual. Hey there. This is Captain Murphy of the good ship Why Not? We understand you folks think you've got the universe figured out. That's adorable. Veltar activated the temporal cannons. Destroy that ship. Kill them yesterday. The weapons fired, sending death backwards through time. The human ship should have been erased from existence before it was even built. Instead, Captain Murphy's voice continued. Oh, neat trick. We tried that once. Didn't work out, kept creating paradoxes. So we developed something better. What the humans had developed, Dr. Chen explained to the emergency UN assembly, was weaponized absurdity. The Zephyrians mastered impossible science, she said, gesturing to her holographic displays. But impossible science still follows patterns, even if those patterns seem contradictory to us. They built reality engines, probability manipulators, causality inverters, All very impressive, all very logical in their own twisted way. She smiled. We built something that doesn't make sense, period. The why not wasn't a ship in any conventional sense. It was an argument against existence that somehow convinced the universe it was wrong. Its hull was made of crystallized confusion. Its engines ran on pure stubbornness. And its navigation system worked by getting completely lost and then confidently insisting that wherever it ended up was actually where it meant to go all along. When the Zephyrians fired their reality-warping weapons at it, the ship politely declined to be affected. When they tried to erase it from history, it pointed out that it had never actually existed in the first place, so erasure was redundant. When they attempted to trap it in a temporal loop, it somehow convinced the loop that it was actually a straight line. More human ships arrived. The probably, whose existence was purely theoretical but who had strong opinions about it anyway. The because I said so, which operated on the principle that wanting something hard enough made it true. The Murphy's Law, which turned every possible malfunction into a tactical advantage. The Zephyrian fleet, for all their impossible technology, found themselves utterly baffled. Their science could break the laws of physics, but the humans had broken the concept of laws entirely. How do you fight enemies who've weaponized the phrase "that's not how it works" by making it work anyway? Retreat, Veltar finally ordered. This species is clearly insane. Captain Murphy's voice crackled over the communications. Insane?
Nah, we're just really stubborn.
Plus, we've got something you don't. What's that? Veltar demanded. Practice. You see, Commander, we've been dealing with impossible things our entire existence. We're the species that looked at the impossibility of flight and built airplanes anyway. We saw the cosmic distances between stars and said, challenge accepted. We've been proving the universe wrong since we figured out how to make fire. The human fleet watched as the Zephyrian ships retreated, their advanced technology unable to cope with opponents who refused to acknowledge the rules of engagement. Dr. Chen monitored the departure from her laboratory, still grinning. The Zephyrians would be back eventually, probably with even more impossible science. But humanity would be ready. After all, they'd spent their entire history taking impossible problems and solving them with nothing but curiosity, stubbornness, and an absolute refusal to accept that something couldn't be done. As she often told her students, the universe might be vast and mysterious, but it had clearly never met a human with a deadline and a really dumb idea. The Why Not broadcast one final message as the alien fleet disappeared into hyperspace. Same time next week? We'll bring coffee. And somewhere in the depths of space, reality itself chuckled softly and decided that maybe, just maybe, it was time to update its rules.